In a previous video, we already reported that Elon Musk made a statement that many initially dismissed as just another bold billionaire fantasy, but now even the most skeptical analysts are beginning to admit that there may be a completely real plan behind those words. It concerns the possible deployment of Tesla's newest Optimus robots to Mars as early as the end of 2026. And if just a few months ago such discussions seemed too futuristic even for SpaceX, today the situation looks entirely different. In the wake of a series of successful Starship test flights, emerging leaks from within SpaceX and Tesla, and publications in reputable American tech media, more and more people are beginning to understand that the company is truly accelerating preparations for one of the most unusual space missions of the 21st century. And what is most interesting is that, according to insiders, SpaceX leadership is now considering an even more ambitious intermediate step, a test mission of Optimus robots as early as this summer. And this is not just about a short orbital flight. Some reports suggest that within the company, there is discussion of sending robots to the moon, and possibly even attempting the first test landing of Optimus on its surface. If this really happens, humanity will see humanoid robots independently operating on another celestial body for the first time even before the next generation of humans sets foot on the moon. And this is precisely what is now turning Musk's project from a beautiful fantasy into a potentially historic technological breakthrough and the largest PR leap in human history. Over the past few weeks, a huge number of strange yet highly intriguing events have been taking place around SpaceX. Journalists have noticed unusual activity near the Starbase launch facilities in Texas. Several insiders claim that inside company hangars, there are now restricted zones with access denied even to some employees. Some workers report unusual cargo being delivered at night under heavy security. At the same time, Tesla has suddenly begun showcasing Optimus much more aggressively in public. The robots are performing increasingly complex tasks, carrying heavy objects, sorting components, servicing equipment, and interacting with people. Many believe this is all part of preparing public perception for a much larger announcement. And if one closely examines Musk's own statements over recent months, it becomes clear that he increasingly links Optimus specifically with space. According to sources, there has long been an idea within SpaceX to use humanoid robots as the first builders of extraterrestrial bases. The reason is simple: sending humans is too expensive, too dangerous, and too complex. Robots, on the other hand, do not require oxygen, food, psychological support, or long-term adaptation. They can work around the clock, withstand extreme conditions, and perform the most dangerous tasks without risking human life. That is why within the company, there is now growing discussion of a scenario in which Optimus will not just be an assistant to humans, but the first true colonizer of another planet. However, before Mars there remains a huge challenge. No one has ever tested humanoid robots in such conditions. And precisely for this reason, according to several sources, SpaceX is considering the moon as an ideal testing ground. Many may ask, why send robots to the moon at all if the main goal is Mars? But the logic is actually quite straightforward. The moon is significantly closer to Earth. The journey takes only a few days instead of many months. This means that in case of failure or unforeseen issues, the mission can be adjusted relatively quickly. In addition, communication with the moon is nearly instantaneous, whereas on Mars, signal delays can reach up to 20 minutes. And this is critically important for testing humanoid robots that still heavily depend on remote control and AI systems. According to former NASA engineers, the moon is an ideal environment for testing all key systems of a future Martian mission. There are extreme temperature fluctuations, high radiation, no atmosphere, dust capable of penetrating virtually any mechanisms, and extremely difficult conditions for movement. And if Optimus can operate effectively on the moon, it would be a massive step toward Mars. Moreover, some analysts believe that SpaceX wants to use the moon not only as a testing ground, but also as part of a global PR strategy. Imagine footage of several Tesla humanoid robots stepping out of a Starship onto the lunar surface under a massive SpaceX logo. The robots deploy solar panels, unload equipment, build the first elements of a base, while millions of people around the world watch it live. For Musk, this would be in effect comparable to the first human landing on the moon in 1969, except this time, instead of astronauts, it would be robots created by a private company. And what is most interesting is that, technically, SpaceX is indeed beginning to gain the capability to carry out such a project. After the latest Starship tests, many experts acknowledge that the program is finally emerging from a prolonged crisis. Despite past explosions and failed tests, SpaceX has managed to achieve something once considered nearly impossible. The company has begun stabilizing the launch and landing process of its giant rocket. Especially important was the successful return of Super Heavy and the increasingly reliable performance of the Starship upper stage. SpaceX engineers are gradually approaching a system capable of conducting regular heavy space missions, and this, according to insiders, has freed up the company's leadership. If previously all efforts were focused solely on making Starship operational, now there is room to think about next-generation payloads, and Optimus is perfectly suited to become a symbol of a new space era. According to some reports, inside SpaceX, there is even discussion of a scenario in which the first Optimus robots could be delivered to the moon before some of NASA's crewed missions. This would represent a powerful blow to the traditional space industry, effectively demonstrating that a private company is capable of implementing innovations faster than state programs with multi-billion-dollar budgets. And this is where things become especially interesting. Many analysts believe that Musk does not see Optimus simply as a factory robot for Tesla. For him, it is the future universal workforce of humanity. Robots that can build bases, extract resources, repair equipment, maintain space stations, and prepare infrastructure before humans even arrive. In essence, Optimus could become the tool that finally enables humanity to begin true interplanetary colonization. However, space is an entirely different environment, and robots may face a huge number of problems there. First, radiation. Cosmic radiation can destroy electronics, cause processor failures, and damage sensors. On Earth, Optimus operates in relatively safe conditions, but beyond the atmosphere, everything changes. Engineers will need to design specialized shielded modules, reinforce radiation protection, and build redundant systems. Second, temperature extremes. On the moon, temperatures can shift from extreme heat to extreme cold. Metal expands and contracts, batteries lose efficiency, and mechanical systems can seize. In addition, there is the problem of lunar dust. Apollo astronauts reported that it literally destroyed equipment, infiltrated suits, and damaged connections. For humanoid robots, this could become a nightmare. And this is precisely why a lunar test mission appears so logical. It would allow the company to identify the weaknesses of Optimus long before a Mars mission. According to insiders, SpaceX is considering several scenarios for robot behavior on the moon. The first and most likely is the construction of an automated base. Optimus could be used for installing solar panels, unloading equipment, connecting modules, and preparing infrastructure for future crewed missions. In essence, the robots would act as the first builders of an extraterrestrial civilization. And this sounds like science fiction, but technically such tasks are already beginning to look realistic, especially considering how rapidly artificial intelligence is developing. Some specialists believe that within the next 2 to 3 years, Optimus could gain such an advanced level of autonomy that it will be able to independently make decisions in non-standard situations. And for space applications, this is critical, since the communication delay between Earth and Mars will not allow constant manual control of robots. But there is another side to this entire story, the enormous media impact. Many believe Musk fully understands the power of such projects. In recent years, SpaceX has gradually become not only a space company, but also a global brand of the future. Every rocket landing, every Starship test, every Falcon launch turns into a global event. And now, imagine the impact of footage showing dozens of Tesla Optimus robots stepping out of a Starship onto the surface of the Moon or Mars. It would become a viral planetary-scale moment, billions of views, continuous live broadcasts, and worldwide media coverage. Analysts already say that such a mission could change humanity's perception of robots as dramatically as the iPhone once changed the perception of smartphones. And this is also extremely important for Tesla. Amid growing competition in the electric vehicle market, the company is increasingly focusing on AI and robotics. Many investors already consider Optimus potentially more important than Tesla's cars. And if SpaceX truly becomes the first to deploy humanoid robots on the Moon or Mars, Tesla's market capitalization could receive a massive boost because Optimus would no longer be just an experiment. It would become a symbol of the future of humanity. Moreover, some analysts believe Musk is deliberately merging Tesla, xAI, and SpaceX into a unified ecosystem. Starship provides transportation, xAI provides intelligence, and Tesla creates the physical body of the robot. Together, this begins to resemble a single project aimed at building an off-world civilization. Special attention is now focused on possible timelines for a test mission. Some insiders claim that launch windows are being discussed within the company for the second half of this year. Officially, of course, SpaceX does not confirm anything like this. However, journalists have noticed a sharp increase in activity around the Starship program. In addition, Tesla itself has begun to demonstrate Optimus much more frequently in the context of autonomous operation and interaction with equipment. Some experts believe the company is deliberately preparing public opinion for a larger announcement. And if everything truly goes according to plan, we may see the first hints of a real space mission for Optimus within the coming months. At the same time, NASA's attitude towards such plans is quite mixed. On one hand, the agency understands that robots could play a huge role in the exploration of the Moon and Mars. On the other hand, many officials fear that SpaceX is beginning to dominate the space industry too strongly. Some analysts even call this a private space revolution, because whereas previously only governments could execute the most ambitious projects, now a private company is effectively positioning itself as the main driver of humanity's space expansion. And if the Optimus mission succeeds, Musk's influence over the global technology industry will become enormous. Some reputable publications are already comparing the situation to the beginning of a new space race. Except now, instead of the USSR and the USA, the focus is shifting toward private corporations and artificial intelligence. And the most interesting part is that SpaceX's competitors currently have almost nothing capable of matching such a project. Other companies do not simultaneously have a super heavy rocket, advanced AI, and their own humanoid robot. That is precisely why many analysts believe Musk now has a unique window of opportunity. If he truly becomes the first to send humanoid robots to the Moon or Mars, his name will be permanently written into history as the person who initiated the era of an interplanetary robotic civilization. And perhaps this is what most surprises experts right now, because just a few years ago, Optimus was seen as a strange side project within Tesla. Many laughed at the early robot presentations, calling them PR stunts and yet another Musk show. But now the situation is changing. The robots are becoming increasingly functional, AI is advancing at an extraordinary pace, and SpaceX is gradually developing a transportation system capable of delivering massive payloads beyond Earth. And when all these technologies begin to converge, it creates the impression that humanity is truly standing on the threshold of a new era. Some insiders even claim that within SpaceX, there is a long-term scenario in which the first fully functional Martian bases will be almost entirely built by robots before the mass arrival of humans. Optimus would unload Starship, deploy solar stations, assemble living modules, lay communication lines, and extract resources. Humans would arrive only into a relatively prepared environment. If this is true, then the current lunar test mission may be only the very first step of a vast plan designed over decades. And what is most astonishing is that today, all of this no longer looks completely like fantasy. Yes, many details remain unconfirmed. Yes, part of the information is based on leaks and insider claims. But if one looks at the pace of development across SpaceX, Tesla, and artificial intelligence in general, it becomes clear that the world is changing much faster than most people can comprehend. And it is entirely possible that very soon, humanity will indeed see the first footage of Tesla Optimus humanoid robots working on the surface of the Moon under the massive structure of a starship. And just a few years later, these same machines could begin building the first cities on Mars. And as more of these leaks emerge, even the most cautious analysts are beginning to change their views. Because just a year ago, the idea of sending humanoid robots to the moon seemed too expensive, too risky, and too complex even for SpaceX. But now the situation looks very different. After a series of Starship tests, many engineers have begun to say that the company has finally approached the creation of a truly reusable super heavy transport system. And this means that the cost of launching massive payloads into space could drop dramatically. This factor has always been the main barrier to large-scale space projects. For decades, sending even small amounts of equipment to the moon or Mars cost enormous sums of money. But if SpaceX manages to achieve regular Starship flights, the rules of the game will change completely. And then the idea of sending dozens of Optimus robots to the moon will no longer seem like science fiction. Some specialists believe that this is exactly why development of the robots inside the company has accelerated so sharply. According to sources, Tesla and xAI leadership fully understand that they now have a unique chance to become the first in history to create a true extraterrestrial workforce. And this is not just about robots for impressive demonstrations. SpaceX is allegedly requiring Optimus to be capable of performing real tasks in extreme environments. According to some reports, engineers are already testing systems for autonomous equipment repair, cargo handling in suit-like conditions, and even multi-robot coordination without human intervention. All of this may be part of preparation for a future lunar mission. And here arises another extremely important point. Many forget that the moon is not only a testing ground for Mars. In recent years, a real global race around it has started again. The United States, China, Europe, and even private companies are increasingly talking about building permanent lunar bases. And if Optimus truly reaches the moon before most other automation systems, it would become a massive strategic advantage for Musk, because in the future, robots could become the foundation of all infrastructure on the lunar surface. According to some former NASA employees, space agencies have long dreamed of such machines. The problem is that ordinary industrial robots are poorly suited for extraterrestrial missions. They are too limited in movement, require perfectly prepared environments, and are practically unable to adapt to unexpected situations. A humanoid robot like Optimus looks completely different. It can use tools designed for humans, climb ladders, open hatches, carry equipment, and operate in spaces originally designed for the human body. And this is precisely what makes it a potentially ideal candidate for early lunar and Martian bases. Some insiders claim that within SpaceX, there are already discussions about scenarios in which the first robots will work on the moon almost continuously. While humans remain on Earth, Optimus could unload Starship, prepare landing zones, clear the surface of hazardous objects, and even assemble the first elements of energy infrastructure. One of the main tasks could be the installation of massive solar panels. According to analysts, energy will be one of the key challenges for any future lunar base. Without stable electricity, it is impossible to maintain communications, life support systems, and resource production. And if robots can autonomously deploy energy stations, it would be a giant step toward establishing a permanent human presence on the moon. In addition, there is another problem that experts increasingly talk about: psychological impact. According to analysts, Musk fully understands the power of visual imagery. SpaceX has always been able to turn technological events into global shows, and the Optimus mission could become the largest such show in history. Some analysts believe SpaceX wants to change the very perception of space in the public consciousness. Until now, space programs have mostly been associated either with government agencies or with individual heroic astronaut missions. Musk, however, is trying to present a completely different model of the future: industrial space exploration driven by mass technology, AI, and robotic labor. And Optimus fits perfectly into this concept, because if humanity truly wants to build bases on the moon and Mars, it will need thousands and possibly millions of robots. In fact, some specialists believe that space itself may become the main reason Tesla is developing Optimus so aggressively. Many ask why a car company would invest enormous sums into humanoid robots. But when looking at Musk's long-term vision, everything starts to make sense. Building a Martian civilization requires workers, an enormous number of workers. But sending millions of humans to another planet is impossible. Sending millions of robots, however, is entirely realistic. In that case, Optimus would no longer be just a commercial product, but the foundation of an entire future strategy of interplanetary colonization. Some analysts even suggest that the first footage of robots on the moon could become a turning point for humanity as a whole. After that, the perception of artificial intelligence would change forever. People would stop viewing robots as toys or strange laboratory experiments. Instead, they would begin to see them as real participants in space exploration. If the mission succeeds, Optimus could become a symbol of a new era, an era in which humanity expands its presence in the universe, not only with its own hands, but also with the hands of the machines it created. And perhaps this is what worries SpaceX competitors the most today. Because if Musk truly becomes the first to integrate super heavy rockets, artificial intelligence, and mass-produced humanoid robots into a single system, he would gain a technological advantage that would be extremely difficult to catch up with. That means the current rumors about a lunar Optimus mission may not just be a beautiful media story. Perhaps what we are witnessing right now are the first steps toward the emergence of an entirely new civilization, a civilization where robots become the first builders of other worlds.